the comments are much more important. Hey,
Zero Hedge Joe has jumped from last week. It's now up to, it was 25.77 a few days ago, and I looked. He's now down to 23.17, 727th highest ranked site in the United States of America.
That makes a lot of sense. That's what happens when you have freedom of speech, man. Because we're talking too much about reputable financial advisors. Let's talk about some disreputable ones. Joe Salente, man, this guy.
Oh, I hate the guy.
He is such a piece of shit, dude. This guy's a liar. This guy's a shill. This guy's disinformation specialist. Okay, maybe you're gonna say like, oh, Joe, whatever he said wasn't actually wrong. He is exactly like Alex Jones. Alex Jones and him, same pea in the pod. You know, like they get really vague and they like say a bunch of different scenarios, and then like one of them comes true. Look, I predicted this. You know, folks, I've done the research. You know, Israel could not have had anything to do with these attacks. I mean, like Salente, exact same way, man. He always talked. What was Salente saying? Like, I'm 98% right, motherfucker. How about all the other times? That's you're counting the positives. What about all the other negatives that you said could have happened but actually didn't happen?
You've just exactly picked a spot. He gets 2% wrong, but in that 2% is Israel couldn't have taken any part of 9/11. That just tells you he's a shill. But we've known that. I don't want to talk about Jones. It gives me. People said it to me when I liked him, which lasted about a year. Something wrong with his voice, something wrong with this guy. He's nuts. And I said, no, it's the info. It's this. And some of the info. Maybe I took in the 98% of the info, and I didn't swallow the other 2% of his bullshit. But and then with strong divergence, I went towards anti-Zionism, and he went towards Hollywood.
Yeah, there's a bunch more disreputable financial advisors I like to discuss. Another one, Bob Chapman.
He's Jewish.
He's worthless. He's worthless, dude. This guy, he is such a disinfo king. I mean, you got angry at me when I called him disinfo. Look, man, this guy, I've caught him reading articles from the EU Times. Let me tell you what EU Times is. Basically like a prettier version of Social Falls. What does it mean? This guy is such a liar. This guy is such a scumbag. This guy is like, and he's a Freemason. I mean, this guy is like total trash, dude. I mean, only thing, like, if you listen to a show, what does he say all the time? Like, gold's gonna go up, buy gold. Or what else did he say? Like, people should follow the Constitution. Man, get the fuck out of here. I can hear that everywhere else, man. This guy, he doesn't give any valuable information. I just read that newsletter, which you actually got angry at me when I said, like, the newsletter was worthless. This newsletter's ugly, dude. I mean, he doesn't spend all the time. It's just a bunch of, like, copy and paste.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. You get no problem from me. I mean, I wouldn't support Chapman in any way. He goes on Alex Jones' show. What more do you want to know?
Yeah. Then you're gonna say like, what y'all talking about? Like Dispril? Give us a good one. I'm gonna say you the good version of Bob Chapman, which this gets the Joe Blow seal approval. I don't know if you got a chance to listen to me. I recommend it to you, Ognir. His name is Mike from East Texas. I'm not saying this guy's a good person. He's a piece of shit too. He's like a Republican. He's conservative. He's like a eugenicist, just like Bob Chapman. But like, despite all that, he gives like pinpoint, I mean, really specific analysis. I mean, like stuff like you could check and see if he was right or wrong. I mean, he gives numbers. He says like this will happen when that will happen. He was never wrong, and everybody's been waiting to catch him messing up. He's on like if you do a search for him, he has a blog. Maybe I'll put a link. Might in East Texas. This guy's spot on, man. This guy's like he's pure play, dude. This guy's like perfect. He's like what people think of Bob Chapman is. This guy really is that, man. I highly recommend Mike in East Texas. The only problem I personally have with him, he's a little too U.S. centric.
Mm-hmm.
Like on my own show, like you got on your own show too, man. It's like I take a little more international viewpoint.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, like, no one gives a fuck about America. I'm sorry to tell you all this.
Well, taking up another question, as I said, I haven't posted now in several. I haven't done any audios in several months. Although I've been posting and tweeting and whatever, and commenting. one of the recent emails I got, you get put on all these email lists. You know how it works, Joe.
Yeah.
9/11 list, and you get involved. I got involved with the Greeks, and they send me a bunch of them. And there's everyone that you know, all these no planers on the list, and they're usually the ones that start. You know, the people I'm talking about. We're very interested in them. And the most recent one was I think it's a guy called Steve Campbell. Don't know who he is, but I'm on his list, and like I don't know who. There's a million people on the list, and he was had sent out an email of some sort of discourse, a speech or a written thing by David Duke about he wants us to send all the blacks back to Africa. Was the gist of it, and I've read it, but it was a while ago, and send all the blacks back to Africa and stuff, and it was against Ted Pike, which, Ted Pike, and I'm not a big fan of either of those two characters. And Ted Pike said it, it wasn't possible to send them all back, and he'd making excuses. And David Duke was making the point of, you're protecting the blacks, so Duke can win on the white point. Fine, send all the blacks back to America or back to Africa, wherever. Well, send all the blacks back to Africa, wherever they came from. But however, please do not send the Americans back to Europe. You're Americans. Get over it. Mix. Get on. I don't know how you want to do it. You want a separate state. Break away. Do whatever. Form your own political party. Don't follow Washington D.C. Don't follow the Rothschild clan's ideas of how should things be brought. You want to live separately. You don't want to see Asians. You don't want to see Irish people. You don't want to see black people. Fine. I have no problem. You want to live in your own communities, and there are lots of them. But the idea of sending blacks to Africa is the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard.
It's stupid.
But I mean, in the white movement, I'm a white person. I'm a white person. I don't see the logistics of it. First of all, they can't afford to send them back anyway because they're already broke. And Duke is just pissing around with keeping the fire burning under an important issue. The white issue is I'm not saying there's no issue here, and the whites, there is racism against white people. That is just taken for granted. They can say something and a black person says something, it's not taken in the same way. So there is discrimination in different places in different ways. But in the end, America is bankrupt, and we don't want you all crawling back over here because we're bankrupt over here. So people are going to have to get on. And there's this element, they've got a lot of lazy money, and we want to send them back to Africa. They're all on welfare. Something wrong. But the immigrants in all the countries, you look in France with the Algerians, with the Moroccans, Tunisians, a lot of problems there with the blacks coming in from Africa into France. A lot of problems, high unemployment. You see less education, higher unemployment, living crap and stuff, and high crime and stuff, and it's feeding. We're feeling the effects here in Geneva of this downgrade in France. The number of crimes now in Geneva. I've been burgled twice, Joe, but a month ago, twice in 2 weeks at my store. They stole all my shit. They grabbed everything from my shop window. I have a big shop window, 2 big shop windows. One of them, for us, you'd have to do it. To break it, it was at 4 o'clock in the morning. I have an alarm system, cameras, whatever, Nothing will stop these people when they want it. So I'm now reduced to having a shop with penny items from China that I buy on eBay, because if I put anything valuable in, they'll break my windows, which cost me 12,000 francs, which is $15,000. I'm in limbo with my insurance because that's the 9th time I've been burgled in 10 years, 3 times in the last 6 months. 5 times in the last 2 years. I'm not very, it's difficult now in Geneva to get insurance unless you put up the metal stores to put over and cover it down for total protection. But what's the idea of having a shop window if you have to protect it like that? And Geneva's come to that where it's gone very bad here. With the lower it goes down in France, we had absolutely couldn't get any worse for us. For the last 2 months, I've had no work. I have had work. I'm taking over this. My business hasn't done any. The euro's come down from 133 and went down to nearly parity about 8 days ago. Went down to 10074. So for one Swiss franc, you could buy a euro. It was crazy. Now it's come back up to about 119. It's come back down again today to 115. People are buying the Swiss franc. They don't trust the financial system. They don't trust the British pound. They don't trust the euro. They don't trust the dollar. Don't trust the Swiss franc because we've no gold. We have no gold. Let me repeat that. We have no gold behind the Swiss franc. We gave it to the IMF. Them other bunch of criminals, we gave it to them. They have all the Swiss gold. And all of this gold is leased. It doesn't actually physically move. We see Venezuela. Chavez said, no, send me back my 99 tons of gold from London. Big story last week. Not a mention of
yeah,
it.
man, that's what caused a spike in gold right there. And
no,
they've already...
The spike is because the dollar's going down. And
this is the biggest fucking gold story, which I don't think is getting enough coverage. Let me explain to you why this is very important, because... Okay, you're going to say, like, why do you put the gold there in the first place? Because, like, what do you call it? This gold gets moved around a lot. It's lots of transactions, so it's easier just to have the gold in place in different large banks around the world. But by the fiscal act of him asking for the gold back, that's a big no-no. You know why? Because just like in banking, they do, what's that thing called? They take $1 in your account and they multiply it 10 times. They did the same thing with
fractional reserve banking.
They did fractional reserve gold reserves on it. So, like, it's not Chavez's gold. I mean, he's making a mistake. This is like probably 1,000. Every ounce of gold probably is owned by 1,000 different people.
Well, Joe, it's interesting. The gold community is one that I follow, and I read all the heads, listen to the people. King World News. I want to talk about him. We'll get on to him now in a minute, but. I don't think my own little spin on this one is Chavez is screwed his health wise. I don't think he's doing too good. I know he's having some cancer treatment and whatever, and he might know that his time is limited. Now he knows he's no hope of getting that 99 tons, and it was just to put it out there that it was. It was for the effect rather than anything else. That if he is dying, that part of his legacy is that he went after the gold, the gold bullion banks, and Rothschild directly.
I mean, like I said, man, this is like the hottest, biggest story which no one is ever talking about. I'm going to tell you this, Ognir. This is like my personal analysis. I think he's going to go for it. I think he's going to really, and not to say he's going to probably test every single bar, probably break up all the bars in little pieces to make sure there's no tungsten in them.